One of the biggest mistakes that newer IGLs make is that they create these elaborate T-strats with full team nade setups, varying sets of defaults, and incredibly complicated fakes. Yet the only thing in their CT size strat book is a 2-1-2 or a 1-3-1 setup. Maybe an eco stack play if they're feeling spicy. But CT strats can and should be more nuanced than just having the same players playing the same sites over and over again, while the teams adapt with their whole treasure book of strats. Today, we'll be looking at a Faceit game with the whole Liquid roster playing to examine the many different styles and variations of CT defense so that we can apply it to our own games. This video is sponsored by SkinsMonkey. SkinsMonkey is a 24/7 online trading service for CS2 that is extremely easy to use and completely transparent. You just select your skins, the skins you want to trade for it, and they'll send you the offer. It's that simple. Right now, they are offering a 30% bonus on your first deposit and up to 35% if you use my code WAZOO at the top, along with an additional free $5 if you trade $100. That's a lot of free money, so check out SkinsMonkey today and use my code WAZOO. Thank you, SkinsMonkey. Now, for some context to this game. This is the last Faceit game with the entire Liquid roster right before the IEM Dallas qualifiers. Technically, they played a few more a few days later, but that was with head coach Zeus instead of Naf. Why am I analyzing a Faceit game for strats instead of a pro match? While normally pro teams would test out new strats against other pro teams during scrims, or just save them as pocket strats for more important tournaments, Liquid is in a unique position where they have a new roster and they are in desperate need of new strats. And Faceit is a perfect place to test strats, because there are no stakes and it's very unlikely that they find another pro team who would steal or expose these strats. As a result, Liquid is going to try a huge variety of strats in this half. This video is definitely more geared towards 3, 4, 5 stacks than the other videos in this series. Nevertheless, we can all learn how to play different variation of CT setups and how to call for better adjustments to our defenses. Let's go in order of the rounds. Pistol round is important not only because it heavily influences the subsequent 3 rounds, but also because it sets the tone for the match, especially if you can tilt your opponent's round 1. If you have a pocket strat that doesn't reveal your standard setup but can easily cheese the tees, you can tilt the enemy's round 1 and make the game substantially easier. Liquid decides to play Naf B, Yekindar Cat, twistzz mid, cadian connector, and skullz anchor A, which is considered a 1-3-1 setup, 1A, 3 mid, and 1B. We're going to be seeing a lot of different strats with all of the players constantly switching spots, but this is generally the standard setup that Liquid are going to run this match. The twist for this round is that twistzz is going to buy Zeus and jump down underpass, and cadian is going to play A with skullz. So how does this round turn out? Skullz attempts to throw a molly to prevent the A main push, but the T's are simply too fast and overwhelm the site, killing skullz, cadian, and Naf swiftly. Yekindar and twistzz aren't much help as the connector smoke denies them vision and they decide to save. Not exactly ideal, but now Liquid know a few things about this team. They are willing to push aggressively and are pretty coordinated on a fast push, and that they are very good at spreading out and taking control of entire areas. The next few rounds aren't much better with the limited buy. On the second round, they put cadian mid with twistzz, but the smoke denies cadian support and twistzz dies. On the third round, Naf joins the mid effort, but it doesn't help as the weapons are still too weak for the T's AKs and Galils. This now signals to Liquid that just throwing more bodies at mid is not going to solve the issue, and that they are going to need to be creative to beat the T's rushing. So on round 4, with a limited buy again, Liquid decide to switch cadian and Naf, and Yekindar decides to utilize his fast mid spawn to get into ladder room for a surprise angle. The T's go for a 3-2 mid B split and smoke window, denying twistzz vision with the scout. Yekindar hears the fast cat play and readies his Zeus, but skullz gets a lucky spam headshot with a deagle, which prompts Yekindar to switch back to his more versatile P250 to deal with the remaining cat player. Cadian gets caught between the B rush and the one cat player who makes it through Yekindar, but his sacrifice is not in vain as Yekindar cleans up the cat player and gets a nice headshot onto another T before getting traded out. but the T doesn't get very far as he is baited to push up by skullz' shadow, where twistzz is waiting for him with a scout. Although you could chalk this up to some individual heroics from Yekindar, it's the collective team effort to make the whole setup switch to help Yekindar succeed, despite the low buy. In the next round, Cadian and Naf switch back to their respective sites, but Yekindar fails the ladder room jump, turning the setup into a 1-2-2 setup. However, Naf doesn't need to hold B as diligently as an A anchor needs to hold their site, as Mirage B is a notoriously hard site to push without mid help, as having to jump out of balcony leaves T's vulnerable to a hailstorm of bullets from the B and Cat players. So when Yekindar fails to jump up into ladder room and thus cannot hold Cat, Naf takes over to assist with the mid fight. Yekindar attempts to push up mid, but gets caught off guard by the mid lurk, but twistzz quickly trades him out. The T's, now knowing the connector player Cadian and the mid player twistzz are distracted by the lurker, decides to execute A. Cadian gets caught off guard and twistzz attempts to get his trade, but skullz activates in sandwich, getting an insane spray down and grabs the final kill. Again, you could chalk this up to skullz' crazy aim, but the support from Cadian and twistzz definitely played an integral role in skullz' success. So the Yekindar ladder jump seems to be a pretty effective strat. So does Liquid continue with this setup? Nope. Can't let the T's get too comfortable. Cadian and twistzz jump out of window as Yekindar holds top mid, with some support from skullz' flashes from A. Now, there is no utility from the T towards top mid, which is the most important area to control on Mirage. So that only really means three things. 1. The T's are preparing for a fast push onto A. 2. The T's are preparing for a fast push onto B. And 3. The T's are pushing into underpass. Well, skullz sees no indication of an A push. Naf doesn't hear or see anything B either, so twistzz decides to check under a C3. Not good. So he backs up and throws one flash to delay the rush, as skullz comes over to assist with the underpass hold. But notice how Cadian is completely unfazed by this underpass call, and continues to push top mid. He knows that, although there's a majority of T's in underpass, the only other way the T's could assist with the underpass push is top mid, which Cadian shuts down promptly. Now with top mid clear, Yekindar throws a flash into underpass, and skullz and twistzz swiftly kill two of the underpass players, and the round is basically over. But Liquid are going to switch the defense back to their original 1B, 1 cat, 1 mid, 1 con, and 1 A setup, but with Cadian and twistzz switching mid and con. And they lose again. This is the point where most newer IGLs would just toss in the towel, and just give up playing this version of the 1-3-1 setup. But it's as important to understand why certain strats don't work as it is to understand why certain strats do work. The first few times that Liquid used this setup, it was pistol round and lower buys, so it was pretty understandable that they could lose due to the weapon disadvantage. But in this round, Liquid does not have any favorable spawns. They can't go for any fast peaks, so they are always going to be playing on the back foot against the T's this round. These bad spawns get Yekindar rushed down cat, as he couldn't get help from Cadian because he was getting naded out, and twistzz was smoked off early on connector, which is a recurring element as to why this 1v1 setup doesn't work. Yekindar is often singled out, and the other mid players cannot help him out at all. The reason why the ladder strat worked is because the T's did not expect Yekindar to be in there, and thus were taken by surprise when Yekindar peeked out and got a triple. But now that the T's know that this is a possibility, they aren't going to fall for it again. So on round 8, instead of playing a 1-3-1, Liquid decides to use a 1-2-2 setup with an AWP on each site, or rather a 2-1-2 setup, since twistzz is mostly going to be helping out on A this round. The round begins with this funny interaction between the two B players where Naf sets up a boost, but Yekindar isn't going for it, so Naf just kinda looks at him like he's stupid. But if you notice on the map chart that I just showed you, you will have realized that skullz has moved to mid instead of anchoring A, and that is just due to his fast spawn, where he's going to make the cat jump to get an off angle on the T's mid, but he doesn't see anything. This allows twistzz to put his full attention back on A, reinforcing both sites with two players. Yekindar gets one pick onto B, Cadian gets a pick A, skullz gets a pick underpass, and Team Liquid wins this round pretty easily. So, Liquid have cracked the code, right? Time for a switch up. Skullz and Cadian both have great A spawns, so they are going to aggress early and try to catch the T's off guard. However, a couple of flashes takes Cadian out of the push, and skullz over-aggresses, getting 2 kills, and Cadian trades himself out. Overall, not a bad push per se, but it can certainly be improved on. So in this next round, while skullz still pushes up, Cadian posts up on stairs for an aggressive angle onto A main, while still remaining safe should the T's overwhelm skullz. Not that matters too much, since the T's decide to push B. While Cadian and skullz double up on A, twistzz continue to hold mid. However, Team Liquid switches Naf to Cat and Yekindar to B anchor. At the start of the round, Yekindar accepts Naf's boost onto apps, and Naf moves on to help take control of mid, but Yekindar gets ran over by Tech 9. Normally, Naf should be more cautious about peeking onto B, because although he is in the powerful position of Cat, B Mirage is a notoriously hard site to retake as it has tight corridors and ratty angles. So if Naf dies here, it's going to be an incredibly difficult retake for Team Liquid. However, after Cadian gets his pick onto the Lurker Palace, he realizes that there are no more nades coming in for an A execute, so he decides to push up Connector for an aggressive mid angle. So when Yekindar dies on B, Cadian is able to quickly rotate up onto Cat alongside twistzz, giving Naf more room to go for a bench peek, which he might have not gone for if he was alone. After that is an easy retake for Liquid. But Liquid are about to switch up again. This time, Naf has the best mid spawn, so he's going to go for a fast underpass push, while Cadian plays Cat, and Yekindar pushes up mid through Connector. Naf and Yekindar don't spot anything, so Team Liquid braces for an A hit, especially after skullz gets his brains blown out. The great thing about these mid rushes and mid-centric setups in general is that you can get extremely fast rotations onto bomb sites should they get hit. The only problem is that you might not be the most help when the T's smoke off all the angles onto the site. This is why it's very important that if you are a solo player on the site, that you do not prioritize getting kills, but rather just delay the T's so that your teammates can rotate. This is in no way blaming skullz for the round loss, but we can see the thought process as we move on to the next round. The final round of the half starts almost exactly the same as the last round, except Yekindar is going to go for a fast underpass play, while Naf is the one in control of Cat. Yekindar rushes up apartment stairs and sees absolutely nothing, so he goes for the flank. Meanwhile, on the A site, skullz gets hit with a flash, but learning from the past round, he bags up into CT, planning to retake with the rest of Liquid once the bomb is planted, but ends up killing one of the T's aggressing into CT as a bonus. This allows extra pressure to be added onto the rest of the T's, as they also have to worry about skullz potentially shooting at them from the side, which allows the whole site push to be stopped, ending the half 7-5. In this game, we saw a myriad of strats from the Team Liquid players and how they brought new strats to change up the pace and address their weaknesses. So the next time your team tilt mutes and just runs down the same strat every round after 3 losses in a row on a CT-sided map, you'll have a better idea of how to adapt. And that's all I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon.